The President of the United States says that our army is the most powerful army in the world, the strongest army in the world, perhaps to such an extent. Sometimes it gets hit so hard that it can't even get up. They say, we sent a destroyer toward Iran, a very good destroyer. Of course, it is a dangerous device. But even more dangerous than the destroyer is the weapon that can take away the destroyer's power in the heart of the sea. This is not the time for negotiations. If negotiations are to happen, deciding the outcome in advance is a wrong and foolish thing to do.
As the crucial talks on Tehran's nuclear program are underway in Geneva, the Iranian supreme leader has issued some blistering threats to the United States and its president, Donald Trump, on February 17th. The Iranian supreme leader openly challenged Trump and said, "You will never be able to depose the Islamic Republic." He went a step further and said, I quote, "The U.S. president keeps saying the U.S. Army is the strongest in the world, but the strongest army in the world may sometimes get slapped so hard that it cannot stand up straight." Along with threatening the U.S. Army, Khamenei downplayed the power of negotiations and said, "There is no room for negotiations. If negotiations are to occur, it is wrong and foolish to predetermine their outcome," taking a dig at the U.S. way of cracking a favorable deal for itself.
I am saying that we are free. These people are also martyrs because in the turmoil, the enemy tries to make it seem to them that they are right, so they say it. The President of the United States says that our army is the most powerful army in the world, the strongest army in the world, perhaps to such an extent. Sometimes it gets hit so hard that it can't even get up. They say, we sent a destroyer toward Iran, a very good destroyer. Of course, it is a dangerous device. But even more dangerous than the destroyer is the weapon that can take away the destroyer's power in the heart of the sea. In a series of public statements and formal remarks delivered quite recently to the gathered audience, he took the opportunity to express his thoughts and provide a detailed perspective on the current situation that everyone has been closely monitoring over the past few weeks. He said that he has frequently complained to his own people that for 47 long years, the United States of America has not been able to successfully eliminate the Islamic Republic, 47 long years. That America has not been able to eliminate the Islamic Republic. This is a good admission. I'm not saying you won't be able to do it either. In fact, they say a nation like ours, with this culture, this history, and these high values, will not be brought to its knees by corrupt leaders like those currently in power in America. Negotiations should take place, but honestly, this is not the time for negotiations. If negotiations are to happen, deciding the outcome in advance is a wrong and foolish thing to do. You say, let's talk and reach an agreement on the formula. So why are you determining the result beforehand? We absolutely must reach this agreement. It's foolish, and this is exactly the kind of thinking that comes from the Basij, the IRGC, and people like that.
Well, how Trump will respond to the Iranian leader's threats is only a matter of time, and how the Geneva talks go. Khamenei's threat comes after Trump subtly warned Iran on February 17th about the possibility of failed nuclear talks and said, "I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal."
What are you expecting from these Iran talks in Geneva tomorrow?
So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important, and we'll see what can happen. It's been typically, Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential, and we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Have you been told that a deal is next to impossible?
No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Meanwhile, as the talks in Geneva are ongoing, Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, said that Tehran and Washington have reached agreement on the guiding principles for their Geneva talks.
Today we held the second round of negotiations with the American delegation indirectly at the Omani embassy in Geneva. I can say that compared to the previous round, much more serious discussions took place this time, and the atmosphere was more constructive. Various ideas were put forward, and these ideas were seriously considered. And ultimately, we were able to reach a general agreement on a set of guiding principles. And from now on, we will proceed based on those principles and move toward drafting the text of a possible agreement. This does not mean that we can reach an agreement quickly, but at least the path has begun. We hope for a quick completion and are ready to dedicate the necessary time. However, drafting the text is more complex. Progress since the last meeting is good. The path ahead is clear and positive. With no set timeline, both sides agreed to. We will collaborate extensively on the specific terms and conditions of a possible agreement, and then we will formally exchange these finalized documents with one another, after which we will collectively determine and schedule a mutually convenient date for the subsequent round of high-level negotiations to be hosted within the country of Australia. Now we have a clearer picture. They'll draft an agreement, we'll exchange terms, then schedule the third round. We now see what actions are needed moving forward. Both sides still have differing positions, but we have guiding principles and a clearer path ahead.
Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, Ismail Baghai, said that Tehran has communicated its position to the United States on the nuclear issue, sanctions relief, and the overall framework for any potential agreement during the ongoing indirect talks in Geneva.
I think these discussions and negotiations will continue for now, probably for at least another 1 or 2 hours longer. We will have to carefully observe and see exactly which direction they take. Over the past 2 days, that is from yesterday morning until this very moment, we have already had multiple intensive rounds of high-level talks, both with the Foreign Minister of Oman and with the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Our views, points, considerations and concerns, both regarding the lifting of sanctions and the nuclear issue, have been conveyed to the other parties. Since this morning, extensive talks have taken place between the Omani Foreign Minister and the American side, as well as between the Director General of the agency and the American side. Naturally, in these talks, our viewpoints have once again been conveyed. There have been several rounds of back and forth exchanges. The negotiations are currently being conducted in an indirect and complex manner. As I have previously mentioned in our discussions, both in the crucial field of nuclear energy and regarding the lifting of sanctions, we have delved deeply into some highly specific technical details and complex intricacies. One reason for this is precisely the presence of the Director General of the agency himself, since, after all, the agency, as the body responsible for nuclear issues, not only plays an important role, but its presence can also be beneficial in this process.
The outcome of the Geneva talks will depend on whether the United States avoids making unreasonable demands and shows genuine commitment to lifting the harsh economic sanctions imposed on Iran, a senior Iranian official told Reuters on February 17th.